Okay, this is Dave again from Media Digitronics. In this video, I'm going to go over the basics of adding text. Now, this video will apply to either the free version or the pro version of ScrapPage. So we'll go ahead and start a new project as we always do, and I'll just pick the same old sizes we've been using. You can pick anything you want when you do these. Now let's pick a little tan sort of color here to get us started, okay? So what I'm going to do is just show you how you can add and manipulate text. All right, so what we do, we go up here under Add and we say, I want a text box. Now you'll see it comes in and it's empty. It shows a rectangle that shows where it's going to fit on the page. You can make this thing be any size you want, but a good idea is to just put in some text. So I'm going to say some text. All right, you can type in anything you want. It's in this little this is the text entry panel, and in this little memo pad right here, this is where it all goes in. Now once you've got it in there, you have several options. You could it defaults to size 48, which is kind of a title size or so. So I'll just show you what that looks like just by telling you okay. All right, so that'd be the size of the text on the default. Now you can make it anything you want. You could make it much larger. Let's say we take it up to 72 and see what that does. Okay, so there, it takes it up to that. Another little trick you can do is you can auto size it. Now when it auto sizes, it doesn't exactly fill. What it does is it says, okay, I'm going to fill where I'm going to have enough room around here so that if I had text that was like, let's say that was instead of an E was a G, it would come down with a tail, and some taller stuff goes up higher. So if you have umlauts and things like that. So anyway, the bottom line of all this is that text is sized by either hitting this auto size or by putting a number into this box here, or over here you can see I have these little plus and minuses. Now these are kind of interesting little guys, because what you can do is you can tell it, hey, just by continuing to click this thing, it's going to take it down. You see over here, and it's taking it down one step at a time. So it's going from 94 to 93 to 92, right? And back up the other way if you want to do that. Now that comes in real handy when you have a lot of text. Okay, so let's change this, and we'll put in a good bit of text. I'm not going to type it all in. I'm just going to copy and paste something in here. Now you can see if I tell it to use the same thing here, it's not going to even come close to filling all that in. It'll just show you what it can. But what you can do is you can tell it, hey, let's auto size that. All right, so it's going to auto size down to where it's a 16 is the minimum that it auto sizes down to. You can take it smaller than that if you want, but that's the minimum that it does an auto size to. All right, so you can see that right now it's center justified. If we wanted to left justify it, then it would put it over here. Now you can see how the text will reformat itself as you move the size of the box around. It's fitting it. It's doing a best fit for the box size that you have picked. All right. So now let's go over here and say, hey, if I got this, what if I wanted to make it a little bigger? Well, here's where this little plus button comes in, and you can say, okay, if I have that much room, then that's the best fit I can get. If I can maybe make it just a little bigger, I might be able to get a better fit. All right. So there, you got the text the way you want it. And now it sits anywhere you want within your layout. Okay, and text acts just like pictures. I mean, you can rotate it around like this if you want to. It's up to you. And sometimes it gives a nice look to do that. I'll just set that back to 0 for now. But anyway, that's basically the way that the text works. Now let me start another text box here, and let's call this one page title. Now we can auto size it so that it fits like this, and you'll see that that's why this is a good example here with this G. You can see why the box is a little bit bigger, because the G comes down to the very, very bottom of it. Now you can make it so that it moves around too, just like any other. And one of the other things you can do with your text is you can give it a color. So let's pick, we'll just pick a brown now for this one, okay? Because that then kind of pretty much matches the tonal quality of this particular page. We could have done the same thing here too, by the way. I could have given this a dark brown and said, fine, there it is. Now it sort of works with the page coloring too. But the other thing we can do is you can bold the text up if you want. You can italicize it, or you can underline it. All those things are possible. The other thing you can do is you outline it. Now it starts off with a default to black on the outline, okay? So it would look something like that. All right, so you have a pretty decent looking little thing there, but you might want to say, well, what if I took this down and I made it, a more subdued. That's the same color as the background now, by the way. So if we said, well, what if I wanted to make it just a little bit lighter or something like that, well, then you get that look. All right. So that's the way you can add text. You can size it however you want. There is a limit, by the way. If I said I wanted to supersize this text and I tell it OK, if I tell it auto size, it's going to auto size up to a max of 180. And that's just because of some peculiarities in the way auto or texting is done with TrueType text in Windows. But anyway, that would then give you the title as big as you want as it could be. Now, there is one other interesting thing that you can do. Let's suppose you wanted it to be really gigantic. Well, you can make it into an image. And I'll just go ahead and do that. And it tells me that this is not a reversible procedure. So after I've done it, I won't be able to change the text at all in terms of its color or its actual wording. But if I tell it yes, okay, it just made that into an image. Now, what's interesting about the image is I can blow it up like so, and I can make it really, really big if that's what you wanted to do. You can also skew it by holding down the Shift key. I could skew the text this way. All right, so and I could flatten it out however I wanted it. If I wanted it to look like that, I could do that. So those are kind of the basics of how text gets handled in Scrap Page. And again, as I said, you can put many different text boxes around. You can intermix them with your photos and such if you wanted to put them in there like that. And once you have your text, it's in there, and you can go back and edit it anytime you want. So, if, for instance, in this one here, if we said, hey, gee, I wanted to have a space in between that, in that area there where his, where he went from his career in college to his potential in football and the pros, well, all right, so we just put the space in there, and now he's got that space. Now, again, if you had already constrained yourself to an area on the page, it wouldn't fit. So you'd have to start shrinking it down until it does. And then that way, your text would be optimally sized for whatever area you define where your text has to live on the page that you've laid out. So pretty much that's the way text works in Scrap Page. And until the next time, this is Dave, and I'll have another video on another topic.